Hello again. My name is Gabby. I'm the English teacher at Moreno Valley. This is English 11A, Unit 4, Performance Task 2. So you should have already seen the other videos, and that's why you're here. But we're going to start with Performance Task 2. For Performance Task 2, it is different. You get a lot of options, a lot of different things to look at, so this will be probably a long video. So first things first, pre-writing activities for Performance Task 2. It's going to be a historical investigation report, so that means you're looking closer at history. So as a culminating activity, which means incorporating everything that you've learned from Units 1 through 4, you are going to write a historical investigation report that includes a thesis, right? If you don't know what a thesis is, watch my How to Write an Essay video. It gives you good information on how to write a thesis. Primary and secondary sources. So primary sources came directly from the horse's mouth, right? Somebody who lived during that time and experienced those things wrote this document. And so like the Declaration of Independence, that's a primary source, right? I have a dream, that's a primary source. Secondary source. Secondary source is when a historian or somebody else writes about primary sources or things that happened back in the day. So what you're going to write is going to be a secondary source, right? A history book, that's secondary source. Properly cited quotations. Remember, if you don't know how to do those, look at my How to Write an Essay video that tells you how to properly cite your quotations. You need in-text citations, which has the parentheses, author's last name, page number, parentheses, period. And you need your works cited page, which comes up a little later. You need to have an organized style, including an introduction, body, and conclusion. Again, that video. And then photographs, charts, timeline, or other visual media, but that will only be for Unit 5, so don't worry about that yet. This historical report will take the form of a 3 to 5 page typed essay, okay, that you're going to create in this unit, in Unit 4. The essay will be then turned into a 20 slide PowerPoint in Unit 5. In this unit, you're going to do the pre-writing, outline, rough draft, and meet with me for a conference. So first things first, I told you there's a lot of different options here. You have to figure out what topic you want to choose. So they tell you if you enjoy these things, then you're this type of learner and you will probably like this topic. It doesn't mean that it has to be the topic that you want. It just is a suggestion. So here are the topics, okay? So you want to choose a topic below and then select a literary work from your textbook or a novel related to your topic. Write about why you chose this literary work and what you hope to learn from this historical investigation. So first thing, describe transcendentalism, so that whole period of literature, right? Describe it through the eyes of Ralph Waldo Emerson or Henry David Thoreau, or describe Jack London's naturalism. So you have to describe those literary movements through those authors' eyes. What is mankind's relationship with the natural environment, and why is that relationship important? That's the first one. If you like Emerson, Thoreau, or London, if you like nature and all that, good one for you. Number 2, analyze either the abolitionist movement or the Harlem Renaissance from a political, social, and cultural point of view. Why did it happen, and how did America change because of it? This is a really cool one to focus on, especially with the Black Lives Matter movement that's going on right now. The Harlem Renaissance was when Black art came to the forefront again, and it definitely changed a lot politically, socially, and culturally. So that's a great one if you're interested in things like that. Number 3, create a timeline of the slave trade in America. What happened, when, and why? How did that impact the slave trade on society change over time? So this one, it would be very much a straightforward type of essay. Just like this happened then, and this is when, and this is why, and this is how it changed over time. That would be probably the end. 4, you're going to create a map, right? A visual map of Lewis and Clark's expedition. What did they see, do, and learn at the important points along the route? So you're going to write an essay about what they saw, they did, and they learned along the route, and you're also going to create a map. So it's a little bit harder because you have to not only do the essay, but you have to create a map too. 5, much of the journey on the Underground Railroad took place in darkness, at night, or in hiding places. Imagine that you're escaping on the Underground Railroad. Using realism, create a detailed description of the imaginary journey using your 5 senses. The emotions felt along the way. So this one, it's kind of fun because it's creative writing. So you're gonna have to research a bit, right? Because you want to make sure that this is actually realistic. You don't want to say, oh, I was on the Underground Railroad in Southern California, and Underground Railroads didn't happen in California. You want to make sure your facts are right, so you gotta research. But you gotta be more creative about it. You can tell your story, your emotions, and things like that based off of your research. That's the one I like. That's the one I'd probably write. Most of the songs were called spirituals, were created by African Americans before the Civil War. Compare one of the spirituals from Unit 3 with the song Battle Hymn of the Republic written by Julia Ward. How? A Union supporter. How are they alike? How are they different in regards to lyrics, melody, purpose, and historical background? So if you like music, that one's for you. 7, create an imaginary dialogue between the people from opposite points of view, a light romantic versus a dark romantic. So Emerson versus Poe, something like that. A Union supporter or versus a Confederate. So somebody who wanted to stay versus somebody who wanted to secede, right? The slave owners versus like Lincoln supporters. Give both sides of the discussion, pointing out why each person believes what he believes. So that one would be good for the research, and if you're a person who likes talking. And then 8, choose a historical figure that you have studied in this semester, such as Thomas Jefferson, Franklin, Dickinson, Douglas. Describe in detail how that person is similar to you and how that person is different from you. Focus on historical, social, and cultural perspectives. So if you want to incorporate more of yourself into your essay, this is the one for you. So which topic did you choose? I said I would create number 5 because that one's the most interesting to me. What literary works from your textbook or novel will you write about in your report? So I'd find any pieces on the Underground Railroad or slavery. And then what do you hope to learn from your historical investigation on this report? How difficult it really was for slaves at the time, and what the Underground Railroad really was and looked like. Choose an organizational method. For mine, it would definitely be chronological, because I wouldn't want to start at the end of the freedom part of the railroad, right? I want to start at the beginning. Why did I want freedom? So organizational methods, chronological. This happened, then this happened, then this happened. This is the beginning, this is the end. Cause and effect. This thing caused this thing. Problem and solution. This was the problem, this is the solution. Parts to a whole. This is all of the things, and then this is what it led to. Order of importance. So this happened, this was the most important, and so on and so on. And then compare and contrast. This is different from this thing. If you choose that last one, that's the perfect one. So I chose chronological. Why? Because it makes the most sense. I wouldn't want to explain how great freedom was without showing the turmoil that it took to get there. Research and take notes. So you want to talk about what kind of research organization you're going to try out and things like that. A lot of people suggest Cornell notes. I am very much an outline note type of person. If you've been in my class, you've seen what it looks like. It has the topic, it has the subtopics, and then if you have a quote or something specific, it goes underneath that. If you look at the outline that I have linked there, you can see how those look. And then your internet resources, 3 reliable resources that you plan on using. So I would have whatever it is in my book. I would have a couple different websites that I would use. develop a thesis statement. So remember, a thesis statement has the topic, the claim, and then your support, right? Or your argument and your support. So my thesis statement would probably be freedom earned through the Underground Railroad is the sweetest freedom possible because I had to survive this, this, and this. Because I'm writing in the viewpoint of a slave, right? Because I had to survive whippings, fear of being caught, and terrible conditions or something like that. I haven't done the research yet, so I don't know. Create an outline. I have on how to write an essay a link to an outline that you can just fill out. It follows the same type of format and it has it broken down, so it has like insert thesis statement here, insert this here. It might be hard to plug in a narrative to that, but you can use it especially if you're using the more informational prompts. However you choose to outline it, I will let you do it though. If you choose to do bubbles, whatever you choose, as long as I can tell it's an outline. So you've chosen it, you've did your outline. Next is to do the 3 to 5 page typed rough draft of your essay. Remember that you do need a works cited page and your citations. This should look like a completed essay. After you do that, I'm going to ask that you look over this, check off all of the things, go back, did you address every part of the topic? Some of these have multiple parts to them. Do you start with a thesis? Do you have your rough draft organized? Does it include both primary and secondary sources? Did you make your sentences more interesting with the things that we've learned, so not vague, very specific, and varying sentence structure? Do you have a formal style? Does it sound right, basically? You're not using slang if you're writing an academic essay, or you're not using academic words if you're writing from the perspective of a slave. Did you reread and make sure your draft was as best as it could be? Yes? Okay. Well, then we're going to have our conference. You're going to read it out loud to me, and I'm going to give you feedback on these topics. What's done well, what I want you to keep, what I need you to add. So if you are missing quotations, facts, secondary sources, things like that. Cut. If there's something that I just feel like you went off on a tangent somewhere, I'll ask you to cut that. Change. If you are having a lot of slang and things like that, I'll ask you to change it if it's a formal essay or vice versa. And then proofread. Make sure you have no run-ons, fragments, homonyms, spelling, grammatical issues, punctuation errors. If you do all of that, you'll get those points for that 10. And then based off of the rubric, you'll get the next 25 points. So remember, these are the things I'm looking for. I'm looking for a good thesis statement, well-organized, strong conclusion. I'm looking for facts, quotes, and research that convey ideas. I'm looking for transitions, precise words, and formal style. I'm looking for multiple authoritative print and digital resources. I'm fine if they're all digital, but you should use your book, your textbook, and proper citations. And then I'm looking that you tried to revise it. So this is what I'm looking for performance task 2. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want me to reread it and double check it, let me know.